Welcome to Love, Death, and Deceit. My name is Alan, and on this channel I share my real story, my life, my loss, and the fight for truth after my wife's passing. Everything you hear is based on my own experiences, memories, and records, screenshots and messages I've collected. I'm sharing this because silence almost buried the truth, and because one day my daughter deserves to hear what really happened. This video contains my personal opinions, recollections, and interpretations. It is intended for storytelling and commentary only. Some names and details have been changed for privacy. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Nothing in this video is presented as verified legal fact, and no harm, defamation, or misrepresentation is intended. Okay, new update. So, talked to the attorney, and we decided there wasn't really crap left to do that we could do with this case because it got so messed up in the beginning. So I told her to go ahead and non-suit, let me be done, move on with my life. Basically, Ashley knows my phone number. She can always reach out to me when she sees the truth, which will happen eventually. So I'm like, go ahead, non-suit it, squash it all, be done with it. So now today, they file a new motion to compel discovery, which of course we have it all, but we didn't do it because I was busy fighting the CPS crap. And then now they've asked for attorney fees in their new motion. So all this that I've gone through, and I've spent well over $100,000 now, just trying to carry out my wife's last wishes and what Ashley said she had always wanted. And so with all that money that I've paid, now they're trying to ask me to pay their freaking attorney fees too. No way in hell that's gonna happen, but it's another battle to fight. So all this time, it's all I've been doing is fighting to defend myself on false accusations, lies, like you name it. It's just a constant battle of defense. And truthfully, I'm just tired of defending myself, especially when I have not done anything wrong. All I have done is continued to keep my word to my late wife and my daughter. And it's ridiculous. It's just the evil that exists is just ridiculous. I mean, why would I still be fighting if I was this horrible, evil person? And I'm just trying to carry out my word, what I promised both of them back from the very freaking beginning. It's just unreal. I was going through, I don't know, we'll talk about it in another episode, but I found my wife's funeral wishes, to which I never had them before. So like, I know she made them, and she told me, she typed them up on my computer one day, and I got home and she was really upset, and she said, I just did the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, which was write out my funeral wishes. I mean, who wants to do that? I mean, it's all well and cool if you're doing it for when I die 20 years from now and you don't know when that's going to be, but when you know you're dying soon and you're making your funeral wishes, then it's a whole different story. So what she did is she typed them up on my computer on Word, printed them out, put them in a sealed envelope, never saved them on the computer or anything, and just told me, hey, my funeral wishes are in the sealed envelope, put it in the safe, open them when I die, and don't open them until then. And I said, okay, babe, no problem. Because she didn't want it debated or discussed or anything. It's like, it's her funeral wishes. I mean, you're right. You don't have to negotiate them with everybody. And so, her mom always was asking her, hey, I need to know what your funeral wishes are. I need to see your funeral wishes. And Jen was like, you don't need to see them. You'll see them when I die. When I die, you'll see them. And her mom said, well, I need to prepare. She said, you don't have to prepare for shit. My funeral wishes are not up for debate. They're not up for negotiation. They're what I want, and you'll freaking see them when I die. Period, end of story. Well, of course, her mom, still stayed on her, but luckily, Jen never gave in. The bad part about it is that nobody else had ever seen what her funeral wishes were and what she wanted. So therefore, whoever was in possession of that envelope could do whatever the hell that they wanted to do, And that's exactly what happened. So when she was taken from my house, basically kidnapped against her free will, literally, all of her documents went with her. So who had possession of that envelope? Well, her mom. And was it shared with everybody else? I highly doubt it, because her funeral happened exactly almost opposite of what she wanted. Not only did they not follow them, exactly to the T, but literally did the freaking opposite. So I've got them here pulled up on my screen, and I'm just reading them here. Oh, and so kind of going back. So what I found on my wife's phone when I was preparing for my CPS freaking dispute, again defending myself on bullshit, I was going through the pictures on my wife's phone, and I never saw these on there before, but they had deleted a bunch of crap, and so I restored off of iCloud. And I guess I never really went back and looked again, because like when I went in there for my CPS stuff, I pulled up like the documents in your photo gallery, and this like pulled right up. So what happened was, and I'll share it here on the screen, is after my wife typed it out on the computer, for some reason she took a picture of the computer screen with her phone, but then she didn't save it on the computer or anything, but she did take a picture of it, which was kind of strange. I don't know why she would do that, but I mean, it ended up being good in the end, because I am now able to see what her funeral wishes are that were not carried out, that were basically just 100% disregarded. So I'll read you the highlights here. So it has first, about anyway, send the voice memos that are on her phone to each person listed. She left like a going away message for everybody. So those were sent out because I saw the evidence of it on her phone, where the text messages where they sent everybody those. But of course there wasn't one for me and one for my son. I mean, why would she leave a going away, I'm dying last words voice memo to her husband, right? But I mean, I'm joking. Obviously it was freaking deleted by these evil people. So it says second, so I was the first. Second, it says, please listen to Ashton's wishes on my phone under voice memos. It is date stamped, and I would like a judge to be able to hear it as well. I want her wishes honored and my wishes honored as best as possible. So what she's referring to here is the voice memo she took of Ashton a couple years ago, telling Ashton that, unfortunately mommy's going to die eventually, and I'll play this for you here in a second, but mommy's going to die eventually. When mommy dies, where do you want to live? And she said, well, I want to live with Alan. And she said, you don't want to live with Nana? And Ashton said, no, Nana, I'll get in trouble with Nana. I want to live with Alan.
Okay. So, is my cancer, and I know this is a sucky conversation for us to have, but it's one that we kind of have to, think about. So, if something were to happen to mommy, and the cancer got really bad, and I were to die, where would you want to live? Do you want to stay with Alan? Do you want to go to Nana's? Do you want to go live with your dad?
I want to stay with Alan.
You want to stay with Alan?
No, I don't want to go with Daddy.
You don't want to live with Daddy?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to live with Nana, because I still get in trouble for Nana.
Well, if you live with Alan, you're going to get in trouble sometimes too, honey. You're just happy with Alan's house? Your home? Okay. Well, I know it's a sucky conversation, and I'm sorry, but everybody's going to want to make decisions for you, and I want to do what you want, so if that's what you want, then that's what Mommy will try to make sure happens. But I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm fighting very hard. But I have to know if something were to happen, what you want. Okay? Alright. I love you.
And she's like, okay. So that's the voice memo she's speaking of. And of course, is that on her phone? Hell no, it's not on her phone. Obviously, it's been deleted. Um, and then it says here, like it's talking about pallbearers. It said previously I did not want my sons or husband to be pallbearers. However, after discussing with Alan, he said it would be an honor, which I did. She said she didn't want me to be a pallbearer, and I was like, why? I want to be a pallbearer. She was like, well, it'd be hard for you. I'm like, I want to carry my wife to her last resting place. Like, it would be my honor. So anyways, that's why she changed it. She said if any of my brother's sons or husband, even though we weren't married, right, would like to be one, please allow it. Do not push them or guilt them into participating. They should be allowed to make their own decision. And then it says, her sister, her request is she has 3 videos to music that she wants her to make, with putting pictures on it and stuff. And so she talks about the ones for her kids and grandkids, and then one for the family. And then she said the last is for my husband, even though we weren't married. The last is for my husband, Alan. Song, To Make You Feel My Love by Adele. So, anyway, and then it goes down to, I would like to be buried at Azelland Perpetual Care Cemetery located at blah, blah, blah. So this is when my family wants to visit. I'm close to most. I want Alan buried with me when it is his time, so please be sure that there are 2 spots available. I also want my headstone to read Jennifer McIlvaney Brundrett. I know I was unable to legally change my name when Alan and I got married. My wishes are to honor our marriage in my heart by having his last name in my final resting place. As far as caskets go cheap. I don't need anything fancy. Would rather the funds not go to something unnecessary. So he's got that. And I guess so take a wild guess. Where was she buried? She sure as hell wasn't buried at Azelland Perpetual Care Cemetery where she was asked to be buried. She was buried near downtown Fort Worth in the cemetery her mom picked. Was there a second space next to her for me? Kind of doubt that. I don't know about the headstone yet. I would put lots of money on it that it doesn't say Brundrett on it. But the last time I was there was for her birthday in June, and there still was not a headstone, even though she was buried in November. I don't know if that's standard protocol, but it sure seems like a heck of a long time to not have a headstone. And truthfully, I haven't gone back yet because I don't want to see if there's a headstone that doesn't have my name on it when that's what she wants. Just trying to avoid the hurt of seeing that. So I haven't felt strong enough to put myself through that yet. So I haven't been there. I'm going to have to here soon. It's September 12th. We're 2 months away from the anniversary of her death. And of course, I'm going to have to go see her on the day that she died, the anniversary. So I guess I'll find out then. Alright, I'm inserting a quick update here. I did go to see her for the anniversary of her death. Actually went the day after, which was my birthday, and the headstone was there. So, what do you think it said on the headstone? I've got the picture up here so you can see for yourself. I had the picture of the funeral wishes of what she wanted it to say on her headstone, and obviously reality didn't match the wishes. Trending theme here, isn't it? So, then she has on here, I don't have a specific outfit I want to be buried in. I would like my mom, stepmom, and Alan to find something they think would look nice. Well, was I part of that? Heck no. Her sister put her in some ugly dress from our last vacation to Florida. That was the vacation from hell. So she says, in my casket, I would like the following items with me. The bear Ashton made me, my black diamond ring on my ring finger, which is her wedding ring. And there's another story about the wedding ring. The James Avery charm bracelet Hunter and Haley made for me on my wrist, and my grandmother's rosary that hangs on the wall next to my side of the bed. So, shortly after she passed, and her mother was trying to get these items and other items from me, she took a picture of this line right here that said those 4 items. Of course, she blacked out the black diamond ring on my ring finger one, and I have that text. I'll share that with you guys also. It'll be on the website too, because she texted it to the police chief, and the police chief forwarded it to me. So it has all these lines exactly on here, which is 100% definitive proof that her mother had possession of these funeral wishes that I'm reading off right now. 100% proof that she had them because she took a picture of them. But she only used the part of it that she wanted to use. And then it says in here too, it continues to say, when the time is right and she is older, I want Ashton to have my first engagement ring from Alan. Oh, engagement ring? We weren't married, remember? It is a sapphire and diamond ring. I also want her to have my grandmother's diamond necklace I wear. I pooped it out so I get to pass it along. And that's her funny story. When she was little, she actually ate this diamond and pooped it out, and they recovered it. It's kind of crazy, but anyway, so where's that first engagement ring from me? I'm sure that's in the trash. And then it's asking about her wanting her old boss to read a book for it. And then here's a good one. When funeral arrangements have been made, please give my phone back to Alan for Ashton. It's a link they both can have to me with pictures, etc. Obviously, her wishes were for Ashton to be with me when she passed on. Otherwise, why would I have her phone for us to share? And so here is the most disheartening part of this whole freaking thing right here. Please know I am aware at how difficult the days and weeks preceding and following my funeral will be. Please be kind to each other in all capitals. Give each other grace, which she always did. I was well loved, and that should be all that matters. Please be inclusive to all, in capitals, ALL, that would like to attend. And if you recall, me, my friends, and my whole family were not allowed at her funeral. We had 2 separate funerals and 2 separate viewings because I was told that I was not allowed to attend, or none of my family or friends, and a couple of our acquaintances actually showed up to her viewing and they were kicked out. They had bouncers at her freaking viewing and kicked out anyone they thought that knew me. I mean, yeah, what the heck? Where was I? It says, I was well loved, and that should be all that matters. Please be inclusive to all that would like to attend, even estranged family. The only person, and then this is in all capitals, that I do not want allowed anywhere near my wake or funeral is, and it says her ex-husband's name. I'm trying to not give names like they deserve to not be, called out on this, but I'm trying to stay away from the names anyway. So I'll black that out on the thing on my website. And it says, that man, and this is her ex-husband, that is my stepdaughter's father. It says, that man hurt me, my children, and my family more than any one person should be allowed. He will not inflict any more pain on those I love these days. If necessary, have my uncle so-and-so and uncle so-and-so guard the doors. I'd love to see the look on his face when he encounters my gentle but giant uncles. LOL. So this is the really, like I said, the most unheartening part of her funeral wishes. So she says, I want everybody there. I want all my friends, all my family, all my estranged family, even the people that you don't like. I want there at my funeral and my visitation if they want to be there. Except for my ex-husband and my daughter's biological father. It's the same person. So guess what happened at the funeral and at the wake? Do you think he was allowed there? Do you think he was invited even? Well, of course he was, because this whole thing is about show. Oh, look at how close we are now. Even though these two hated each other with a passion during the marriage, he refused to go over there to her house for any family event or function or anything. He 100% refused to go there, and she felt the same about him. But now they're besties, right? They're besties because they're working together against me. Got the two evils together to fight the one that's trying to do good. I might not always do it, but gosh dang, I try to do good and live up to my word and do what is right. But man, they make it freaking hard. Make it hard to keep going and not give up. So this is my last hurrah here, of course, to get the truth out there and some sort of justice. I couldn't get it through the actual legal system. It just doesn't exist because the bad thing is, it's like when you're evil, when you lie, when you don't care about lying, when you don't care about making stuff up, and you basically have no moral scruples to be truthful and honest. It's like, how do you fight those people without stooping to their level? Because I'm not going to lie and make up documents and delete stuff and do all these things, but you're fighting somebody that doesn't care. So it makes it really difficult to fight that, because you're fighting someone that doesn't play fair, for lack of better words. So anyway, where were we? So she said the only thing that she didn't want was for her ex-husband to be at the wake or be at the funeral. Well, of course he was at the wake. Of course he was at the funeral. But you want to know the worst thing about it? Is her mom had him as one of her pallbearers. Her freaking pallbearer. So she says, I don't want this guy anywhere near my funeral or my viewing. Well, she has him carry the freaking casket to bring it to the ground. My poor wife had been kicking and screaming in that damn casket, saying, let go, get away from me. It says in here, I don't even want this guy anywhere near me. So we think it's going to be a good idea to let him be the freaking pallbearer? It is just, man, it is unreal. It's like she knew that her mom was crazy and had issues, but she had no idea of the extent that her mom would go to, and how do you do that to your daughter? Basically, nothing in her funeral wishes was carried out. A couple minute details. Yeah, she gave her the bear and the rosary she wanted to be buried with, but did they let her be buried with her wedding ring? Hell no. And then, one time, when she was telling me that she wanted to be buried with her wedding ring, I said, babe, why do you want to be buried with your wedding ring? Why don't you let me keep it, and I'll give it to Ashton when she gets older, and, and she can have it for her wedding ring, or, just whatever she wants to do with it. And she said, no, I want to be buried with my wedding ring. And I was like, okay, if that's what you want, babe, that's what you want. Unfortunately, you're the one dying here, and whatever you want is what you're going to get. So she was real adamant on being buried with that ring. And for those of you that didn't maybe catch that episode, what happened was, I talked to the funeral director, and, I told him, she wanted me buried with her ring, blah, blah. He spoke to her mother about it, and she wasn't going to let that happen. He was like, well, you can put the ring on her finger during your service and then, take it off afterwards. So, they had their visitation, and then following that was our visitation. They had their funeral, following that was our funeral. And then a day or two later was when they were going to do the burial, whatever they call that fancy word for when they take them and actually bury them. And so I gave that up because, of course, you can only have one of those. I mean, what are you gonna do? Put them in the hole and freaking take them out again and act like it didn't happen? So I was like, they can have that. That's fine. You know, I just want, because truthfully, I didn't really want to see her put in the ground because that's just, I don't know. It's kind of worse than seeing, you know, them there in the casket because it's, you know, so final, I guess, when it goes in the ground. So I was like, I'll give that up. You know, they can have that. So anyway, we had the last funeral. And so I asked the funeral director, well, hey, since I'm at the last funeral, you know, her wish is to be buried in a ring, so I can just leave it on her finger. And I mean, they're not going to open the casket and check it to make sure she's not wearing a ring before they, you know, take her to be buried, are they? And he looks at me and he goes, oh, I know they are. I'm like, what the hell? Like, seriously, her mom is going to open the casket and make sure she doesn't have her freaking wedding ring on there before they bury her? So he tells me, stick it somewhere where they won't find it. And I'm like, she wanted it on her finger, and I promised it would be on her finger, but we must improvise and adapt here, guys, right? I mean, so I'm like, I gotta get it in her freaking casket with her, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, how well are they gonna check to make sure it's not in her casket? You know, this woman is insane. Is she gonna check all the little pockets? Is she gonna check under the pillow? Is she gonna, you know, check here and there and whatever? So I was like, I got one shot, literally one shot at this. If I don't get it in a good place where they don't find it, like, there's no fixing it. She's gonna be buried in the ground with dirt on top of her, and there's no second chances. So I'm like, I gotta do this shit, and I gotta do it right. So, anyway, at the end of the funeral, you know, everybody goes in the hall, and, you know, luckily my sons, they kind of keep everybody out there so I can have the last moments with my wife. Anyway, so, you know, I say my goodbyes and all that kind of stuff, and now it's time to get to the task at hand. I gotta get this ring in her casket where it won't be found. So, I mean, the only thing I can think is putting it down her back, you know, where it's kind of like in the middle of her back. So if they feel on one side, they feel on the other side, you know, it's in the middle. They're gonna have to dig to try to find this thing. The other thing I thought was it needs to be inside of her dress and not on the outside, because that's a lot easier to be found. So I've got the ring. I put it between my two fingers, my index and whatever the heck, my middle finger, which I need to use that more often for some people. So I got it between my fingers, and I try to, you know, like, slide it down behind her. And at this point, you know, she's, of course, very stiff. This is my wife that I love with all my heart. So I'm trying to put it down there, but it's like, it's tight. I can't get it there. So I called my daughter-in-law over, because she's always there for me, and she's the one that'll hide a body with you if you need to hide a body, which, of course, we're just kidding there. There's no incrimination here. We have not killed anybody and don't really plan to. So she's there, basically giving me the moral support, because this is freaking horrible. I'm like, it's my wife's dead body. So I have to grab her left shoulder with my right hand, and I have to lift her left shoulder up a little bit so I can get my two fingers with the ring in there and slide it inside of her dress down to the small of her back in her dead body. And of course, by doing this, I see all these wonderful stitches where they did whatever they did to her, you know, and it's real crude the way they stitch them back up, because nobody's supposed to see it. I mean, you're not supposed to be digging down there. But unfortunately, we have to. And so I get the ring down there and I get it in the small of her back, inside of her dress. And of course, I feel like total shit doing this. I mean, this is ridiculous that I'm having to go to these extents to carry out her final wishes. So luckily, that was able to happen. It was a really bad time, but that goes back with, her funeral wishes. And then she ends it with, I love you all so very much. Each of you has made my life worth living and fighting for. Thank you for loving me so well. Thank you for caring for me and those I love. When you miss me, put your hand to your heart, close your eyes, and know that I am there. All of my love, Jed. I love you, baby. I'll never ever forget you.